Listen, God made, he allowed, or he blocked it from happening in your life for you. Now, what am I talking about, you guys? Listen, there's three different ways that God does things, or he works in a human being's life, right? So he can make something happen in your life. He can allow something to happen in your life, or he can stop something or block something from happening in your life, right? But everything I said for you is because it's all for you, so that he can get you to where it is that you need to be. And everything that he allows, child of God, is there for a purpose. Nothing is being wasted, but it's all for you, right? So the things that God makes happen in our lives, right? He puts us in those situations that we know, right? Those very things that we tried our best to stay away from, God puts you dead in the middle of it, because many times we don't like to deal with things, right? We don't like to deal with things. We like to just, things get hard and we run away. I can't deal with them. I just can't deal with them. So God has to sometimes put you in the midst of that situation that you tried to avoid. And now you're going to have to deal with it, because where he's taking you, you cannot run away from your issues. You cannot run away from dealing with situations. So you need to have this skill, right? So you're going to have to be able to deal with people, right? So that one he makes happen. And some things he allows to happen in our lives, right? He allows things to happen in our lives. So what do I mean? Those are those situations that we go through, you guys, or those things that we suffer through because of our own behavior. So there may be something that you do which God can stop from happening or stop the consequences, but he does not. But he allows you to suffer and to go through that because of your bad decision, right? So God allows those things to happen, you guys, but it's all happening because there's a lesson that he wants you to learn from that, right? It may be something you asked the Lord to do, or you didn't ask him to do, so you just jumped in it yourself, and then the thing ended up in a bad way. It didn't work out the way that you thought it was going to work. But because you didn't check with him first, he's going to now allow you to struggle, to suffer, and to go through that, right? And when he allows those things, child of God, it's because he now wants you, next time you're going to check with him before you do things, right? So he'll allow those mistakes in our lives for us to learn something from them. So we covered him making things happen. We covered him allowing things to happen. And then there's things that he stops or blocks from happening in our lives. Now, what am I talking about? That's those situations that should have turned out in a worse way, but because God stepped in divinely, he changed the outcome of the situation, where as though it worked for you. Now, those situations, that those things that you went through, child of God, you should have lost your mind. But God regulated your mind because he had to step in, right? And he had to block your mind from going crazy, right? And then there may be an alcohol problem that you had, and that alcohol problem, the devil tried to use that to take you out of here. But somehow God stepped in and he blocked the outcome of that thing from happening the way that it should have. That car accident should have took you out of here. That sickness should have took you out of here. Those drugs should have took you out of here. That time you went outside and you almost got shot should have took you out of here. All of those things are happening in your life, child of God, because God needs you to experience that. So when he takes you where he wants you to be, right? Remember I said for you, right? You're going to be equipped. You're going to have everything you need to be able to sustain when you get there, right? You all of these things are going to give you tougher skin, right? So I want to give an example really quick, you guys, how God will allow something to happen. It'll allow something to happen to cause you to learn a lesson, right? It'll cause you to learn a lesson when God allows things to happen, right? So I'll share this one time. I kept getting prophesied to get a car. God gonna bless you with a car. You're gonna get a car. You're gonna get a car. And I'm gonna make this quick. You're gonna get a car. And I'm just trying to give an example because I'm going somewhere, right? So you're gonna get a car. You're gonna get a car, but nothing's happening. I'm still catching a bus. I'm still begging for rides. But that thing keep going in my mind. You're gonna get a car. You're gonna get a car. You're gonna And then one day, out of the blue, it came into my mind, well, just use your credit card. Just use your credit card. So I had a credit card. The thing had about maybe $10,000 limit on it. It was a Discover card, right? So I went online and I'm looking at these cars and I found a car I liked. It was a Ford Taurus, right? And so I drove I had somebody actually take me. We drove about an hour away to get to the car dealership. So, I liked the car. I really liked the car. We did a test drive. The car was driving so good. Everything was good with the car, right? So I paid the money. I think it was about $7,000, right? Off the credit card now, off the credit card. Me not really thinking. I just jumped into something. Didn't pray really, didn't pray. I just was receiving the word, oh, God gonna bless you with a car. And I got tired of waiting. Now I'm going somewhere, right? So I went and got this car. We test drove it, beautiful, driving nice, everything. So the moment I pulled it out of the lot, the car started smoking, right? And so I'm driving and driving and driving, and I almost get home, and then the car starts overheating, right? And then it's just bump, 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 bump. It's just it doesn't want to go. So I'm nervous, oh boy, I wish I could make it home. Help me to make it home and make it home. And so I made it home, and then I called the car dealership, and I said, I spoke to the guy that did the test drive. And I said, yeah, man, I just bought the car and the car is acting up. It's not acting right. When we drove it, I don't know what happened, but when I drove off, it started overheating and making all of this noise. And so he said, well, you bought it as is. And he hung up the phone. So I called back. I said, well, wait, I just bought the car. Something is wrong with the car. I got to bring it back in so that y'all can fix the car. Well, nope, you bought it as is. And he hung up. So now I'm getting upset, And so I called back again and I asked to speak to a manager, and I was telling the manager everything that happened. Then the manager said, oh, well, you bought it, as is, you drove it off the lot and that's that, right? So I'm so upset now, Now, mind you, God is allowing this, right, to teach me something. Are you hearing this, right? So I found a mechanic in my town and I told him to look at it. He's like, okay, it's going to cost $2,500. We could get you, it needs a new engine. I'm like, oh my God, man. So I end up paying him $2,500, right? On top of the $7,000 I spent for the car. Now, mind you, it's $10,000 on the credit card, right? So I end up paying him the money. And he still wasn't able to get the parts. And I don't know why I paid him first. I wasn't thinking, right? But how many know God will block your mind, right? He blocked my mind from thinking logically about why would I pay him first, So anyway, I end up losing that $2,500 because the man couldn't find the parts, and it was just a big thing. I'm calling up there, going up there. It was just a big runaround. And he like, well, I tried, and my labor, my time, I had to. So I'm so upset now. I'm out of this money, $7,000 plus $2,500, right? And so, I kind of cried because that's a lot of money to lose, and you got to pay all of that money back, and you have nothing to show for it, right? So after a while, I just like, okay, it is what it is, And then the Lord began to speak like this was me, like I allowed that to happen in your life. And then I was hearing, because I didn't wait on him, because I did it on my own, because I went ahead of him, because I didn't wait on him to answer me, because I wanted it now. You see what I'm saying? So God allowed that to happen in my life. It was a painful, hard situation, but he allowed that to happen in my life, child of God, so that it would teach me to next time don't make a big decision like that without checking with him, right? So if I don't hear anything, I need to wait on him until he speaks. If he says no, I don't care how profitable I may think it may look, right? So I'm not going to do it. But he teaches us all of these lessons, you guys, so that next time you decide again to do something without checking with him, you're going to go back to that situation that he allowed you to suffer in. So when I say it's all for you, right? So he allows it, he stops it from happening, or he causes it to happen, right? And it's all for you, right? It's all for you. So whatever you're going through in your life, child of God, you have to know that God is allowing it to happen. He's stopping it, or he's making it happen for you, right? So it's all for you, child of God, so that God can get you to where he needs you to be. So do not despise your process. It's all a part of God's plan. He got your best interests at heart. You're going to be all right.